Good evening. Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday.
Welcome to Single in the City Where Kings Meet Queens. I'm Nicole Everett.
I'm Joe Keetra.
Nick Raines, dating coach.
And we are the love team, the creators, the facilitators of Single in the City Where Kings Meet Queens, where we are seeking to put the fun back in dating. So we have been doing this for a year, a
Yes.
year, a year,
Wow.
a year.
Wow.
And look, and Nicole and Nick, do y'all know what day it is? Or
Yes.
week?
Do we know what today is? Yes, so we are celebrating the 1 year anniversary of Single in the City, which we launched last August. Sorry, at Two Step Tuesdays and Thursdays at the Pavilion. So we want to thank our followers, our subscribers, the folks that have been with us every step of the way and that have joined us along the way. So we are super excited to still be around now doing virtual. You know, hookups, dating tips, and just general conversation about relationships and such. So we are glad to have you here tonight. We have an awesome guest tonight, which we'll get into in just a moment. But we want you to, before we even get started, tell us where you are tuning in from. Put your city and your state in the comments and we'll shout you out.
Represent.
Yes, and make sure you like, love, and share it. Please.
Like, love, and share. Like, love, and share. So calling all singles and married folks, y'all can chime in as well. But
we got a little bit for the married folks today, too. We got a little bit for the married folks tonight.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. So
we got something for everybody.
Yes. So we see you, Pamela from Tallahassee. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate you.
Hey, Pam.
Yes. So again, it's our anniversary and we are excited about celebrating 1 year of Single in the City Where Kings Meet Queens. So we have a special guest tonight.
Hey, Shanita.
Mr. Elam.
Shanita. Oh, Jackson County, JC in the house.
Yes, Jackson County in the house. We got a lot of people chiming in, so that's good. But Elam B. King, Joe Keetra and I had the great pleasure of meeting Elam a couple years ago at the Capital City Cigar Bar here on the south side of Tallahassee. His cousin Sheila Morris, who lives here, brought him to town and introduced us to his book, Understanding a Man. So we are excited to have him here tonight to share with us how we understand a man. Look, how do we understand a man?
So a lot of people say men are simple, right? But maybe a lot of ladies that may disagree with that. Let's find out.
Well, yeah, it's a lot of men that say they're simple. So yes, we definitely want to know.
Maybe that's the problem.
Right.
Anyway. All right. So without further ado, y'all help us welcome Mr. Elam B. King.
Hey, go Elam, go.
You muted.
Unmute. Bless his heart.
Hey, what's going on?
Yes.
Sorry about that. How's everybody doing?
Doing good.
Doing good. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I got my book.
Look, there's a gnat that just wanted to hate on my life. So if you see him kind of zig by, just let me know. He just knows I'm trying to shine just for a second, so it's okay.
You see you swinging like out of nowhere. We know what we understand.
Right. Wow. So Elam, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Originally from New Jersey. I attended Hampton University, graduated in '98. Shout out to all my HU folk.
All right.
Yes. So I I currently reside here in Atlanta, Georgia. I originally started off in one direction, in some way, God led me in a different direction with regard to. I released a book in about 4 years ago, Understanding a Man, Empowering Women with Tools for Lasting Relationships. And so this came on the precipice of I attended a women's conference. And so while we were there, when I was driving there with my wife, I said, you know what, one day I'm going to write a book. And she was just like, well, your head is big enough to write one, right? And so we just kind of laughed about it. Okay, I'm glad you laughed like that. All right, Joe Keetra, just follow me. So, when we got to the location, most of the weekend was for her, and I was only there for one segment, and it was called Understanding the Mind of a Man. Now, when we got there, the first vendor that we walked up to, her desk was blank, and she just had some cards. And they asked, my wife asked, what do you do? And she said, I'm a book coach. And then she looked at me because remember, we had just had the conversation a couple hours earlier. So the next day, the segment between 2 and 3 o'clock, just for 1 hour, me and 4 other gentlemen, I had just met them that day. And we were just to share information. So the room had about 100 women, and the mean age in the room was probably about 45. And so, for an hour, they asked us questions and we answered it. And at the end of that hour, I looked around the room and I saw that just so many questions that were being asked. And I said, y'all like 45, like how y'all don't understand the way we think, So there's stuff that Nick would have answered like, yeah, this is what we do. And they're like, really? And we're like, we didn't even say nothing. So, but there was definitely some nuggets that were dropped. And so on that day, I looked around the room and I was just like, there's a gap that exists. And so if I could be the bridge between that, and that's where, the Understanding a Man was birthed. It was that Adrienne E. Bell's conference, women's conference. And since then, it's just been just one blessing after another, moved into, life coaching and just relationship coaching, pre-marriage coaching as well. And then one day on Tuesday, on the anniversary of Single in the City, I get a chance to be on the show with y'all.
Hey,
I love it.
That was smooth.
It was. I like that.
It's the microphone. That's what's doing it.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
So I posted a list of the chapters, and I previously asked you about some of the chapters that were kind of the hot topics. So we're gonna dive right in as it relates to the top three that you thought would be good for us to talk about. So chapter 4, Do You See Me?
Let me turn to chapter 4. Well, first, can I say that I really, really enjoyed reading your book. I really love how you just gave the testimonials to share those for men. It made it so real like. And your table of contents, they were like, the titles, the topics, they were like spot on. It gave you a real clear picture of what you were going to discuss. So I appreciate the tools you gave at the end. I just think it's a really good read. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you so much. That's KS Media. So shout out to KS Media. And hold on, I got to give my shout out to my book coach, the originator that we picked up the card, Lindsay Bivens. So she's the one that actually just coached me through. And I think that probably would even lead into, with regard to this chapter and just overall, you have to be willing to accept a coach. And I had never written a book before. So, I'm the sales guy. I've been in technology sales and telecom sales since I left college. Don't ask me how, but the money was good. So that part right there. But I had to humble myself and let somebody tell me, no, okay, yeah, hey, that's good. Hey, that's whack. Hey, that's a horrible idea, and I'm sitting there with my feelings like right here. And I had to learn to work through that because, I had to grow. You have to grow. It's okay to grow through some things.
Right.
But us as a people, we have this stigma to whereas getting coaching in areas where we're weak at is a weakness, but you're weak in that area.
Mm.
So how are you going to get strong? You can't use the same brain that got you in the situation to get you out. You have to use a different one. And so you have to be willing to walk forward and hold hands with somebody else. And so, just wanted to throw that out there because that has a lot to do with even receiving the information from a book like this. And I kind of put that in the beginning to whereas, this is a one-way conversation.
Mm.
Um, and so you just sit and listen and you make what's applicable to you applicable to you. And if there's gaps that exist there, then, the only person that's looking in the mirror that's been involved in all the relationships that you've ever had is you. There's 3.5 billion men on this planet. There's 3.5 billion women. If all the people that you hook up with keep doing the same thing, who's the common denominator?
Well,
So
I see Nick nodding his head.
yeah, so you have to be able to look at that and say, okay, that there's some changes that we need to make, and that's kind of what leads into chapter 4. I didn't mean to jump ahead, Miss Horn. I just wanted to. Sorry.
you fine.
You are perfectly fine.
Go. All right. So tell us. I mean, men, they need to be seen. Is that what we talking about when we say, "Do you see me"?
So in this particular chapter, and just to back up, like I said, I interviewed 24 men of just various, backgrounds, but they were the type of men to whereas if you brought one home this coming Thanksgiving, ladies, you would get the fist pound from your parents, like, oh, okay, yeah, he good. And so, but in this particular chapter, I only interviewed the single men. So what you're seeing in this chapter is only what men who are unmarried are saying.
Okay.
So I want to start it off by saying that. And so it's just basically kind of giving 4 phases and outlining and helping you to grow through some of the pitfalls that might happen to exist in your choices or when you're choosing to date somebody.
All right. So ladies, listen up.
So you got 4 phases.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And so you want me to run them or you got a question?
Run them.
Please, let's go. Let's go.
Look, you can run it.
And I want to say this because I want to start off by just giving the props to ladies to whereas you have this thing that Playboys cannot stand and it's called discernment. All right. You have this spider sense. It does tingle in the beginning and I needed to tingle up here, not down there.
Well,
And so when it's tingling, it's letting you know there's certain aspects that you can, whatever case may be. But this whole process starts with you having an understanding of yourself. And if you don't have an understanding of yourself and knowing what the good direction that walking you in, or even walking, I'm not saying you have to be on the middle staircase, but you have to be a couple of steps up. If you're not a couple of steps up on your staircase of where your purpose is in life, I need you to first of all sit down. The next part of this conversation is not for you because you don't even need to be dating right now. It's actually rude. Okay. How are you going to ask somebody else to love you and you don't even know how to love yourself? So all this, I got to find somebody and all that, you know what, find yourself and then you can be found. But if you don't focus on that piece first, then there's nothing else that what I'm going to say after this is going to really be able to fall in line and domino and make sense for you. So that is a prerequisite to what I'm about to say. All right. So, in phase 1, you have to really understand, what, like I said, like what you want within a relationship, right? And what are the things that you're looking for. So that's just step 1. And so you understanding and knowing that, then you push forward and move into, dating and all that good stuff. So step 2 is that when you meet somebody, you don't really have to run down 100 questions and stuff like that. It's really, you can ask questions here or there that you feel like that are important to you. So everybody's non-negotiables are different and things of that nature. Have at it. But I think one of the biggest pieces, and I'll particularly talk to my ladies for a second here, but this also applies to men as well, but particularly ladies, pay attention to what you see and how their lifestyle is. And figure how to gracefully insert yourself into their world and then pay attention what that looks like. Okay. So for example, I have one of my frat brothers. He is an emergency room doctor, right? He works 1 week on and 1 week off, paid, ridiculous salary, whatever case may be. But here's the thing. If you know yourself and you know that you're a quality time person, okay, and so he works 1 week on and 1 week off, he's out the door 2 weeks out the month. That's before he's tired. That's before this. That's before that. So if you don't know yourself enough to know that the one of the major ways that you're loved is quality time, now the house and the picket fence and the Maserati and all that, that'll be sitting in the yard and all the security of that'll be taken care of. But how you receive love will not be, because he won't be able to be there for you.
So pause right there. So you said if quality time is how you receive love, are you referring to the 5 love languages?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, cool.
I'm sorry. Should I go college prep honors or should I do general? Which one?
We have talked about this, but I don't know who our audience is specifically. But so that's why I wanted to just make a point of clarity. That's all.
No, that's all.
Well, I'll say, break it down and do general.
I got it. No, and it's 5 love languages, and so that goes back to you knowing and understanding yourself. To whereas you know that this is somebody that, as you insert yourself into their world, that you can kind of look around and say, okay, maybe you're the physical touch person, and so, or maybe you're the acts of service person. So you can hang in there, right? But so that's phase 2. Pay attention to what's going on. All right. And what you see, insert yourself gracefully. You ain't got to show up all the time and be at all the cookouts and all this and that. Ladies, you have this thing called grace. All right. Your grandmama knew about it, and some of y'all have lost that, Lord. And so you need to use your grace in this area. I can't tell you because I'm not a woman. I just know that it's possible and I've seen it happen. All right. You gracefully insert yourself into that person's world, and see how Nick is nodding his head. It's just something that we just know. Right.
What I was gonna say, that's exactly what you're saying, is that I always say you want to invite yourself into their world, not take over their world.
Yes.
Both of you guys still need to have a mission and purpose.
And at this point, that what Nick just said actually leads to point 3, right? Because you're in their world. Don't try to change their world. So part 3, phase 3 is whatever you see, believe it.
Right.
And don't try to change it. Okay? Because that really means that, great. And I get it, right? Sometimes, the last couple of people were just, whack or whatever. And now you're coming across this dude and this is just this one thing. And you're just thinking, well, maybe 2 years from now, he won't work so much. And you're creating a narrative. Okay. You're creating expectations. You're setting yourself up for, because maybe his purpose is to do this for the next 10 years. And now you're going to be thinking about, when little Johnny get here, he won't do that. He'll go to no, he's not going. Okay. He's walking in his purpose. All right. So perhaps you're somebody else's blessing at this point. All right. So you pay attention in phase 3. Whatever you see, you believe it. And then stage 4, which is one of the hardest ones, all right? Make a decision based upon phase 3. And this is where people kind of trip up right here, because you begin, like I was just saying, you begin to create narratives to whereas, well, maybe I can get him to, and maybe he will. Down the road, he will. Let me tell you something, ladies. You're nurturers, so automatically you think that you can just take something and caress it, and just make it. Take away the bumps and the bruises. Let me tell you something. That man is walking in his purpose. Stop trying to change him. Okay. If you see something that that you can't deal with, get out now. Here's the thing. You can drop tears, and God forbid you let him hit it already. But if it's like a month or 2 down the road, it'll be like 1 or 2 tears, right? The problem is people look at phase 4 like 2-3 years down the road. Now you got all this time invested, and you tried, and maybe if he just 2-3 more years and all this and that, and now you're just building resentment within yourself for that person, right? And then meanwhile, that dude is like, well, now I love her, and maybe I should change and go do this, and now you're recreating him into maybe a purpose that God doesn't have for him, but because of his love for you, because you're just that strong. Hello, Apple, Eve, Adam. Okay, so it's clear that your words are just so strong that we will actually do the wrong thing sometimes. We make the decision to do it, but the level of speak that you have into our world will actually do the wrong thing. But then now here's the thing. Down the road, that's the reason why we have issues and people get married and it gets into an entanglement. Okay, so
Lord, wait a minute. We just said it's time for tithes and offerings. Where's Makina with the
Makina,
off.
Makina.
Oh my gosh. Listen, you you have said a whole sermon right there, sir. I don't even know. When we just on the first aspect of listen, chapter 4. All right, come
Take a
on.
break. Give them time to digest it a little bit. Give them time to digest a little
Listen.
bit, and give them a little bit more.
Okay. All right, let's just do a quick recap. All right. So baseline before we even get into the phases, you need to find yourself, then you can be found. That's what I got.
Yes,
Number one is understand what you want in a relationship. Number two, insert yourself in their world gracefully. Find out where you fit in. Number three, don't try to change their world. Whatever you see, believe it. And number four, make a decision.
yes, ma'am.
Point blank, period. That's good stuff.
That is very good stuff. All right. Is there anything else that you wish to share about chapter 4?
No, that's really it's just compressing that time, and that's the reason why that I want to just share that. That's the biggest piece of that. Compress that time. A lot of times, we extend that out to year 5 and 6 and 7. And the first thing that I say to my clients when they come on board, I'm very brutally honest, but they respect me for it. They come on board. Yeah, and no disrespect to anybody. I don't know anybody's status on here, but I'm just gonna go and say this, okay? So, when y'all be like, yes, we've been together 5 years. Been together 5 years. What do you mean been together 5 years? What's wrong? It don't take that long. It don't take that long. You know how many assets you begin to blend and families you begin to blend in 5 years? Who told you you had that amount of time? Okay. If this person is not where they need to be and they're scared or they need to do this or do that, and that's one of the comments that I think I talked about this in this chapter is that, if a man, ladies, again, if a man is saying that, he's been hurt before, or even gentlemen, if the woman saying that she's been hurt before, let me tell you something. You file that in the back of your brain because that's really none of your business. It is not your job to turn around and now mend all the areas that they were hurt by the previous person. You a whole nother person with a whole nother brain. Why you got to mend what they went through with the decision that they did? That's not your problem. So now you're going to spend the next 2-3 years saying, well, he was hurt in the previous, or she was hurt in the previous relationship. So I want to give them some time. Okay. What does time really look like? Because time is not just letting the clock run down. What are they reading? What seminars are they going to? What are they going through? What mentors? Who's taking them through the process? Now, as they go through that process of being mentored, if that takes 3 months, 6 months, a year, I get it. But not just give me some time. Y'all need to stop falling for that. Give me some time is not good enough because, like I said in the beginning, you can't use the same brain that got you in the situation. How you using the same brain and you gonna get through the situation? You ain't talking to nobody. You're not reading nothing. Ain't no sermon nowhere. Where's the transition? How does it change? Okay. So, if somebody said it's okay to shout on this part, that's real because, so we're just, taking some time. Okay. All right.
Woo!
Okay. But Elam, I think it goes back to your point where you said you're probably not even qualified to date if you haven't dealt with that hurt yet. You're not even qualified to date yet. That should have been the prerequisite before you even jumped into the relationship to deal with that.
Yes, sir. Yeah. And somebody posted this a second or two ago. I forgot. I didn't see the young lady that did it. But what I have not said anything that's rockets. I have not said one, Pythagorean theorem, something on the wall with the periodic tables. I didn't say anything that's magical. This is what we already know, but we create these narratives and this hopeless romantic stuff like I'm just gonna meet somebody and fall in love. That's a lie. You don't do that. Okay? You meet somebody while you're walking in purpose. Okay. Those people who might have got it wrong and went through and never did the things that you're talking about right now, that was for them. That's not for you. Okay. You have no choice but to figure yourself out first. In 2020, you got to figure yourself out first, and then you can be found by somebody.
Well, that summed it up right there.
I don't even know, like, what.
Not a whole lot else you can say.
No lies detected here. No lies detected here.
None at all. All right. Thank you, Minister Elam. So can we let
With
him
my apple
still?
juice.
Well, I don't think there'll be too many comments or questions on that because I
No,
think that he clearly broke it down on
yeah,
that part.
and
So what's the next chapter?
people are definitely in agreement with what has been shared
They
thus far.
co-signed it.
Yes, yes. So chapter 6, just between us.
Yeah, and that chapter is actually a testament to what I went through. To be honest, in the beginning. So I got married 25, going on 26 or whatever. Basically, a playboy coming out the field, and then just like, okay, my wife and I, we already had a son together. She had 2 older children, so I went from 0 to 3 at 25. Okay,
Oh wow.
so all my friends, my frat brothers, they was all chilling. You know what I'm saying? I had like maybe 2 folks that was married, and they had been together since like high school, so they didn't count, right? So and so I'm trying to figure this thing out, and so I have 4 brothers. There's 5 of us all total, and so my mom was the only female that I had ever had in my circle that I had not either slept with or tried to holler at, or you know what I'm saying? And my cousins and none like that, none of them grew. So the only female that I could ever disclose information to that I know they're not trying to hate or, whatever, was my mom. So when I first got married, I shared so much information with regard to some of the things I didn't understand and all this and that. And that created about 10 years of bad blood between my wife and my mom, because, after her and I are straight, mom's still mad, like, no, because you didn't do this for my son and whatnot. And so in that chapter, not only whether it's your parents, but also some of your friends, we have to be mindful of the covenant that once you get married, what that exists inside of. And so a lot of times, what do? We go to what we normally do. Just like I went to my mom's, you go to your homegirl that can't keep a man. You go to your dude that's a playboy in the street, and you asking them for advice on your relationship. Okay. And just like somebody told me this before, if you in finances, they said if you can't trade your bank account with the person who you're talking to about finances, you don't need to be talking to them. All right. And the same thing with relationships. If you can't trade your relationship with that person or the mentality that you have with that person, you don't need to be talking to that person. All right. And everybody's not qualified to walk inside of your suffering. And I want to say that again, everybody's not qualified to walk inside of that because they don't have, the know-how for that. But we go to, the wrong people inside of that space. And so the covenant that exists again inside of marriage is that, it's God. And of course, maybe your pastor or the person that you did pre-marriage counseling with.
So are you saying you're a proponent of pre-marriage counseling?
Yes, ma'am. I actually have an online course that will be out probably in about a month, because this is an area that so many of us have just totally dropped the ball. Raise his hand. I did 30 minutes of pre-marriage counseling. So I'm being transparent. I'm not passing judgment. So those people who didn't do any, it's the same as doing 30 minutes. Okay, that's enough. You're signing up. You're signing up for a forever. Okay. When we want to buy a house, we will research where the grocery store is, where the schools are, who the pedophiles in the area are, and the crime rate, what the taxes are. All right. When we want to get a job, we'll research the salary and the background and the stock price, and the person will, drive through their LinkedIn and see who they are and who's about to hire us. Okay. I can go on with different examples, but then when we get married, we just be like, we in love and we just gonna make it. Trust God. Okay. Yes, that takes actions, that takes mentality, that takes transformation. Be not conformed to this world, but be you renewed. Well, how are you gonna be renewed if you're not walking? That's going to help you to renew that. And so just a quick piece I just want to share here is that the best man and the maid of honor, they actually have a job. Okay. It's not because you grew up with them. It's not because, you know what I'm saying, y'all cool, or, you know, they gave you some money, or, you know, whatever. No, it's just marriage is the biggest business, emotional, financial decision that you will ever make in life. So the business side of it, you need a board of directors. You need people around you that are going to advise you, to be able to help you to understand the blind spots and the pitfalls. Just like in business, you got expenses and revenues, right? Well, your revenues is the love and all that. Well, the expenses is when you roll over one day and be like, I can't stand this person. And when you talk to the 20, 30, and 40 and 50-year married people, they're all going to tell you, Miss and Mr. Hopeless Romantic, that day is going to come. Okay. And so when that comes, or something that's just, you know, a spike in your brain, how do you work through that moment? Right. And so if you don't have that, the best man should be somebody that you should be able to turn around and go to. Somebody who has, you know, your marriage at heart. They're not hating on the wife or whatever. They don't like her because you know, you stop kicking it with them, and now you're married. Real stuff. Okay. Ladies, you know, you're not jealous. You don't pick a woman who's got jealous hearted because you in a relationship and she not, but that's been your girl since 15. No, you need to pick somebody who has the best, because here's the thing. I need to call, you know, Joe Keetra, you and I together. I need to be able to call, you know, your best friend Jennifer and be like, yo, I can't stand your girl. Okay. She gets on my nerves. All right. And I'm running it down, but you already know how she already know how you are.
Right.
Let her run it down, and she's just like, and her job is to lead me back to you. Same thing. You know what I'm saying? I'll call Nick, like, Nick, yo, Jaketra, that's it. I'm done. You know what I'm saying? I'm out. So Nick, now your job is to lead me back to Jaketra.
Yeah.
And so I know that. So, you know, Jaketra knows that if I call Nick, it's going to be a positive thing, right? It's not going to be no hate. And then Nick going to turn around and call Jaketra, like, yo, Jaketra, I need you to put on that red dress, and put on them high heels, okay? And put on some of that sweet perfume, okay? And handle your business, because he's lacking in XYZ area.
Yep. There you go.
Right? You know, Joe Keetra, Elam. I'm not a quality time person, but guess what? Hey, Joe Keetra, you're not spending enough time with Elam. That's really what he's trying to say. I know when you passed the salt that y'all started arguing about, you know, Lil Johnny's homework, but really it's just because he wanted to spend more time with you. Now you can receive that. I might have said it in the most jacked up manner, but he's removing the heat and giving you the information. So you're inside of advisory and counsel. And I think somebody just said, Ms. Proctor, it's more in order versus me just going to my parents. Like, that's the wrong. Don't go. I don't care how much you cool with your mama. Don't you call your parents and tell them what's going on in your marriage. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't call your brother, your mother. Don't do that.
Yeah.
So Elam, I actually learned that in premarital counseling. I learned that because they said once you open that door to your parents, then you can't close it no more. So the thing is, of course, in a relationship, you guys been made up, moved on, and the situation, your parents still look at them side eye at Thanksgiving because of what you told them.
Yep.
So we got a comment from DK Kearney.
Hey, DK.
DK.
So DK has been a guest on our show, Elam, and he's a pastor up in the DMV area. He said premarital counseling is a must, even recommended. Check up marriage counseling after you are married. # lessons learned.
Yeah, it's just like a vehicle. With everybody here, I'm gonna assume has a car, right? Every 3-4 months, what you got to do with that car?
Maintenance.
Oil change.
Got to get an oil change, right? So again, we signed up for forever, but the last time that you went to a marriage seminar was, we signed up for forever. Family. Oh, watch this. Family over everything. #. And the last time you picked up a book to better yourself as a husband or wife was,
well,
right. Okay. So you care more about the oil in your car. Y'all want to go on? Go on. Just go on.
You might be stepping on some toes.
Listen, no, this is good stuff. This is really good stuff.
When we just talking about reading some literature on relationships.
We
When
were.
we just talking like people, like you said, like what you said, Elam is right, because you mentioned the car, which it don't last forever, right? You mentioned the house, which a lot of times you don't live in forever, but a marriage is supposed to be forever. But we spending more time in maintenance and all those other things.
Whew.
Thanks.
I didn't have to lean back on that one.
I mean, but here's the thing. That's just a little. Just like I always say, we had health class in middle school, and we learned about the penis and the vagina and sperm and egg and periods and how to get pregnant. But we never really learned the social interconnection and interpersonal communication that exists. You are marrying somebody with a whole nother brain, and their brain our brains are not even the same size. We have the same amount of neurons, but the male brain is slightly bigger than the female brain. Doesn't make us smarter, better, faster, or none of that. That's just Mother Nature. Okay, the worry factor of a woman's brain, the amygdala, is bigger than a man's. That's why sometimes, ladies, when you just stressing out and he chilling, and you just like, what's wrong with you? Yo, he's on a different wavelength in his brain. God made him like that.
You know what?
Okay? The aggressive level of a man versus a woman, testosterone. Oh, we also have a hormone called Mullerian inhibiting substance. That's a hormone that men have in their brain. Hey, listen, I am not a doctor. I got this from Dr. Luann Brizendine, who is a neuropsychologist.
Listen, I can't tell.
Okay.
I'm gonna call you Dr. King.
I mean, it's just nothing but research. But, she wrote 2 books, The Male Brain and the Female Brain. I want to recommend that. Don't even buy Understanding a Man. Go buy The Male Brain and the Female Brain. And it breaks down from in vitro straight through to 80 years old, the different things that we go through. You know what I'm saying? Just like, when women are pregnant, guess what? Men get a little pregnant too. Hormones and all that. So you have to understand how somebody thinks when you first get married in the honeymoon phase, and which is also the dating phase. And that's because Mother Nature wants you to come together, because the goal of Mother Nature is for you to make a baby to continue on. So you know what? That's why all that honeymoon special phase and butterflies in your stomach. And then guess what? After you get married, right? Then once you have children, your hormones shift to more focus on the children. Come on, y'all. So wait a minute. So that's why the children biologically more become the focus versus your spouse. So that's the reason why you look up and say, I remember when you used to, well, Mother Nature said, y'all got to focus on little Johnny so that they can grow up. Right. So that means that you have to become an intentional wife and an intentional husband, because you will accidentally forget about your spouse. Because Mother Nature wants Johnny to grow up, but you want your marriage to grow up. And that's one of the reasons why that once kids hit 18, their freshman and sophomore year, divorce rate is so high, because the children become the goal. So now the goal leaves the house, and now you got somebody who has become your roommate. We've all heard about roommates before, right? So now you're like, okay, well, let me get back to loving you, Joketra, with the quality time that I used to love you with 18 years ago. Guess what? Joketra changes every 10 to 15 years on her love language. So if I'm not paying attention, Joketra just evolved into gifts. Now I'm not buying her stuff like that because she never really cared about it before. But now Joketra's like, yo, that ring over there? Yeah, if he bought, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm not just going to put it on just, materialistic things or whatever, but that's the reason why that you have to pay attention to your spouse. You have to become intentional with your spouse. And so when you walk in the right counsel, and that's really what chapter 4 is talking about, walking in the right counsel so that you can, bring the longevity in your relationship.
Love it.
Woo. Look, I'm just in awe. I'm just in awe.
Good
Thank
stuff.
you.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
And I read that in your book when you talked about happy wife, happy life, and how the happy meter moves. I saw that. So when you just mentioned that, I was thinking, wow, that's good. I think I need to redo my love language.
And I tell people to do just a yearly check-in on the love language, right? So you can watch it evolve, because if whatever it is in September, it's going to be the same in October, right? So it's not the same, something that you have to check up on constantly, but I think a yearly checkup on that. And I think that we all heard about the entanglement about a month or so ago. And one of the things that was spoken in that, I don't know if people missed that, is that she was searching for her happy.
Mm.
You with big Will Smith with there ain't nothing wrong with the money. I've heard enough women say that he's attractive, so he had that down. Good daddy and all that. So all the boxes were checked.
Mm.
She wasn't happy within herself.
Mm.
That's
So
what she
he
said.
knew that. And so he was trying to figure out how to make her happy. And guess what? Oh, we can get off right after this, because this is, if I could shout this from the hilltops of Stone Mountain, it is not your job to make your spouse happy.
Mm.
It is their responsibility to do that. It is your job to complement the happy that they've already created inside of themselves.
Mm.
You're a compliment. There's not this better half. No, you a whole and they a whole, and then that's how you move forward. You take your half and put it with they have. Two halves make hell. What are you doing? Okay, you need to be whole when you walk into that relationship, i.e., phase one, right? Goes back to what we were just saying. So that's a prime example of then they transition into all this other stuff. Why? Because she wasn't happy within herself. Everything else was residual. Augustino and all the other stuff, that's residual. She wasn't happy within herself. Stop going to the C's and fix the problem, fix the cold.
Yeah.
Okay?
That was a symptom. A symptom. Yeah.
Okay. Woo. I know you said we can get off of here, but I have to ask you about something in chapter 3, if you can break it down. The title of chapter 3 is "We Didn't Tell You to Do All That." And this caught my attention because this is something that I think the women don't understand, but we need to hear it, because it's like we went and did all of this, but he's clearly saying, I didn't tell you to do all of that, but we get mad if he doesn't acknowledge all of the stuff that we did. So, Dr. King, can you break that down, please?
Thank you for the foreshadowing. I look forward to Dr. King one day. Thank you for that. But you know, in that chapter, I just want to start out by saying that we saving ladies some money in that chapter. Like, there's so many things. Okay, watch this. Watch Nick's face. I'm going to say this. Watch Nick's face. Nick, she had beautiful eyelashes, said no man ever. Nick, have you ever heard a man say, I loved her eyelashes?
Ever.
Never.
Okay, now watch out now.
No, I know, and it's okay, you know, and I know I don't mean to touch on nobody, you know, I know I'm sharing with you that here's the thing. If you want to do it, it's cool.
Right.
Just know that we don't care about it.
Right. You're not doing it for me.
You're
Just
not
understand that. You're not doing it for me.
You're not doing
what
it.
else do y'all not care about?
And the majority of the men, and I actually went to a lot of the single men in this chapter as well, you know, we really don't like fake body parts. Okay? We really don't like them. Okay? Most of the men in the chapter said they don't even like the way they feel.
Oh,
Now, I want to back up by saying that if it's a medical condition and something that you had to do, you know what I'm saying, you had, you know, to have some things removed and you want to, cool. Okay, you see how I said something? There you go, right there. That let you know. That was the Holy Spirit coming through. So,
come on, Jesus. Okay,
but,
so you don't like eyelashes, you don't like fake body parts, and what else?
It's the bottom line. It was natural. Was really what the majority of the men were saying, that, you know, if you want to go out to a gala or, you know, something, whatever case may, do it up, just paint it up, whatever case. But if paint is your daily walk around, I just want to say this to you. You don't want me to lie to you about who I am when I meet you. Okay? So you want to give me a lie and you want me to tell you the truth.
Mm.
I like that.
That doesn't match. And this is where the law of attraction comes in for a lot of relationships, whereas you're wondering why you keep getting the same thing. You get what you give. Okay. And so, if just understand that enhancements, all this and that, I get it. But every decision carries a residual decision that happens, and you are accountable for that. If you want to, if I don't care, them jokers be like this. Like, if that's what you want to do, if that's how you want to blend, that's fine. Just understand that we're saying that we really, at the end of the day, we will look. We are visual creatures. But who we want to bring home to mama is the way you went to bed is how you wake up in the morning. Give or take a little, you know what I'm saying? That's it.
Oh, no. Wow. All right.
So natural. You're just saying natural everything, natural hair, natural eyes, natural everything.
Yes.
Well, I'm in a couple of groups and the hair thing comes up a lot because the women always chime in and say, well, men always say that they don't like women with weaves or wigs, because that's who you see them with. Then why don't they say anything to the women if that's what they really don't care for?
Number one, if you want to ask men about why are we not dealing with our emotions in the way that we really feel, that's a whole nother 2-hour conversation. So what I'm doing is I'm giving you the honors course of, if we knew our feelings, this is where we're coming from. You see what I'm saying? So the majority of the people that you come across, and men were built to be forward tough and not cry and not express themselves and skin your knee and toughen up, and nobody cares the way you really feel. So you think we came up like that, and now we're just going to turn around and tell you because you cute and because we had sex that this is the way I feel about you, baby? Like, it's not going to happen. You know what I'm saying? So, it's going to take us a while just to figure out ourselves. And here you are with your whole other brain, right? So if I had to, give you a little foreshadowing into when he grows into himself, he'll be able to share with you, hey, listen, who you are naturally, this is what I love. You want to do the get up, Friday night and we hit the bedroom, or, Saturday night and we hit the gala, that's fine. But if this is your MO on a daily basis, like, yo, and it's not every man, I'm not speaking for every man.
Right.
I interviewed 24 men. There are some men that, that's what they want, or whatever case it be. I'm just giving, one side of with regard to just something to think about. And you could probably save a few dollars if you just really thought about it,
Siobhan said we get weeds because we need that extra morning time. I'm sorry.
And I get it. I get protection style. I get all that. Okay. I get all, I know all of it. Okay. I have a 26-year-old daughter who just be throwing it in there, whatever. I mean, my wife, what I'm saying? I got, little people who are getting into, I get it. I'm just saying that one thing they know, they're just like, this is not really necessary. Right. And a lot of times, let's just keep it 1,000. Women don't get dressed for men.
Right.
Y'all get dressed for other women. And when you can learn to get around that, you're going to spend less money.
Yep. Ask him exactly what he like and what he wants. Exactly.
And that's actually what we talk about in that chapter of, what does he like? What does he want? And then you merge that with maybe there's some things that you like and you want, but you have to be cautious of, why do you like what you like? Is it because you've been told that's what you should like? Or do you really want to spend that much money on a bundle? Like, do you really want to, what I'm saying? Like, maybe you might not want to. And so, just follow up with your dude. And if you want to do it for you, that's fine.
Do what he like and don't have to worry about compliments. Ask him what he like. Continue to do that. Compliments will come.
Nah, Michael Cork said Petty Manny aren't important either. That's a lie. Okay. No, that one you got to do.
I
Okay.
like that.
Don't come around with no clause.
I like
No,
those.
that one wasn't in the book. That we didn't put that in there.
He said, "Yep, you gotta do."
Maybe
I like those.
no, maybe he was asking. Maybe it should have been a question
Yeah,
behind it.
yeah.
I
That's
think he was
important.
asking
All
because I
that.
know. Yeah, I know his wife. She keeps herself well groomed.
My wife goes, and then she's taking my daughter with her because I want her to be on the same level.
Right. All right. So yeah, Javon said balance is key.
Absolutely.
All right. So I want to round this out with the final chapter that you mentioned, which was chapter 8, sexual rejection, and how we really feel about sex and intimacy.
Yeah. And I want to start off by just and I actually posted this earlier today. And I wanted to share this just with actually no, just whether you're a lady or a man, but intimacy really breaks down to into me you see.
Mm.
And so if you understand, ladies, as you look into in this chapter, what was happening is that some of the men were expressing a particular category when it comes to sex. And so, it's, I saw it when I was, excuse me, I'm not going to say I saw it, but there were some experiences that I saw when I was younger. Whereas I would see men be like, man, when you get married, you don't get none and all this and that. And I'm like, huh? I can't even grab it. Like it doesn't even go in. Okay. And so this chapter, if you read it, you'll see 100% of the single men are like, huh? I don't know what that looks like. And so you have to ask yourself, why do single men don't even have a thought process of sexual rejection, versus, men that were married. And so, it comes down to, again, you understanding your spouse and what, physical touch, right, is one of the love languages. So if you understand who your spouse is, then you'll understand walking into this situation that, hey, what's that person's sex quotient? What's that person's intimacy quotient, right? And those are two different things, because it's not always intercourse, right? It could be Netflix, who knows, right? But you have to understand the person that you're with. And I like to read these words that the men said on page 69. Okay.
Okay, on page 69 is the reason why
I'm just looking down. I didn't do it on purpose.
it just landed on 69.
Okay,
Yeah, bookmark that page.
Let me go to page 69.
What was that? You said there's sex, what, and there what?
Huh? I'm sorry.
You mentioned two different things. There's sex, something in there. It was two
quotient.
things.
Quotient, yeah, the sex quotient.
Yeah.
And so
okay, is Chancey King your relative?
Yes, that's my cousin. Yes.
Okay.
I had one cousin there. Yeah. He's actually a bishop as well for Greater Works Tabernacle, which is actually the church that I go to. He also married my wife and I as well. So
nice.
He's more than just my cousin. He's actually my spiritual advisor. Huh?
Yeah, he's solid.
Yeah, he's solid. Ain't nothing but solid in that book now. But these are some of the words that the men used: hurt, alienated, isolated, unloved, and confused. If you want to throw a man up against a wall and make him not understand himself, them words right there, he doesn't even know how to process those, because we were never taught how to do that. And so, then you get married and you already weren't walking maybe in some of these lights or whatever, and now you're feeling these emotions and you don't even know how to feel. And so sometimes you might revert back to, what you used to do in life. And that was a pitfall that I made inside of my, matriculation of marriage. And so, you want to put yourself in a position to whereas, you understand the person that you're working with. And even in the Bible, it speaks of sometimes, there might be a time where, you not have sex or whatever case may be, but it has to be something that's agreeable between the two. But I got a headache and not tonight and all this and that. Like, people have to understand what that really does to some men. And we don't even know how to express it.
Mm.
We don't. And I'm going to give you, it's like one of the gentlemen, I think Omar Finley said this in the book. He was just like, it's like having a piece of candy. and like you see, and I think he said it's like a piece of candy, and like you see it and you just want to taste it, and that's the only candy that you want, but you can't have it, right? And I'm just going to put this out there. This is the example that Charles Butler also used. He said, if a man wakes up in the morning and you make his lunch or whatever case would be, and then he goes to work, and you make his breakfast or whatever, and he goes to work, and so on the way to work, because he's already had breakfast, he's going to pass by some different places. He's not going to want to eat. Lunchtime comes, and people just say, hey, we're going to go here, or hey, we're going to go there, whatever case may be. But you made his lunch. So he's like, I'm good, y'all. You know what I'm saying? I'm good, or whatever case may be. I got my lunch right here. All right. 2-3 o'clock, he hungry. You call him and you say, I got steak and potatoes and spinach and little rice, little gravy waiting for you when you get home. He real hungry by 5 o'clock. And he's going to pass all those restaurants on the way. But he's going to go home because he knows what's waiting for him. And if you're not creating that environment where your man knows what's waiting for him at home, this is an area of danger, to whereas you have to pay attention to it and, have some conversation about it. And I'll end with this. A couple of weeks ago, I called about 7 people who were divorced, and I asked them a question. I said, during your marriage, was there ever a time that you just laid naked and you discovered each other's bodies without having sex? Right? That I'm sure you could do that at the end, right? But you just discovered each other's bodies and you touched and in different areas, and you really were definitive about what felt good to you. 100% of them said no. Because what do most of us do? We go into our relationships touching and feeling the way the last person liked the way it was touched and felt. Not the way that this person right here, and then we go stumble and fumble into this person. Right? And guess what? That evolves over time. So the way you touch and feel in year 1, year 5, it might be different. 17% of women orgasm off of being penetrated. The majority of the rest of them need clitoral stimulation. What's your lady? Men. What really drives her in that capacity? And so, but because it worked for this one, that one, okay, there's 3.5 billion women on the planet. You're gonna get it. You might have rolled the dice and got somebody completely different. Ladies, it's not just you just laying there, right? And just how deep can we go? No pun.
Let's go.
So during the Christmas holidays, I was having a conversation with some ladies, and they were a little old school, and they were just like, I was just talking to them about, some sexual things, and they were just like, and I was just like, there's some women who have no idea how to ride, right? And so it was just like, and I was just like, all women's sex is not good. It's one of 3 categories. Either it's dry, it's, just pretty good, or it's just like that extra, just, wet and celebrated, right? And so everybody's not wet and celebrated. Okay. So let's just go there. All right. It's like all of us being 12 inches. I am not. Okay. The people don't want, what I'm saying? Like everybody's not that. So, you have to learn to work with what you got. And just because you have a wet hole, it doesn't mean that it's good. And I always say to gentlemen, close your eyes while you're having sex. Close your eyes, because you're a visual creature. You're looking at her breasts and, different portions of her body. Close your eyes. That will tell you exactly how it really is by itself. But the problem is, I'm looking at you, I'm looking at your face, I'm looking at your body. I'm like, oh, this is so good. And then you climax, and it's like, if you really close your eyes, it was okay. Okay. So, it's just that really being in, this is just a little tidbits. It's just, we have to really begin to look at some of this stuff. And why married to a whole person and we don't really know how to turn that person on? You kidding me? And stop playing Blues Clues in your bedroom. Okay? Stop doing that. Okay, you cannot do that. You got to share. and share again and share again and share again. If you just, oh, you should just know, they don't know. They
Oh
don't
my
know.
gosh. He
I
said,
like it. Thank you.
just, all right. Yes, he is Michael Court. So Michael Court came back. I did not put his comment up, but he said, not necessary. Talk about the pet Manny Petty. Not a question. I hardly noticed. Never seen a dude reject a fine woman because her nails aren't done. None that I know of.
Eddie Murphy on Boomerang.
I think that, I mean, you know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. It's different preferences or whatever. I was just saying mine. Like, you can't.
Right.
I think Eddie Murphy on Boomerang set a good standard on that back in the day.
People take the hammer time. It's okay. I mean.
So Francis said, he said communication. He said Blues Clues. They laughing at you, Elam. They think you are hilarious with this Blues Clues thing. So.
I never heard of Blues Clues before, but I got what you're saying though. That was a good one.
All right.
We need to know that we know that we know.
To know.
Everything goes back to Elam about being intentional, like you said. It's just being intentional about learning what your partner needs or wants and their love language. Goes back to that.
Yeah, it's so basic, and if we could just learn to improve. Here's the thing: the plight with regard to understanding a man is that in order for us to improve our communities, we have to improve these families. In order for us to improve these families, we have to improve the individuals. In order to improve the individuals involved in the situation, man, woman, we have to understand that we ain't got it. Like, I know we know that, you know, if our weight is a certain amount and we pinch a certain thing, we're like, okay, I need to lose this weight. And, you know, when it comes to our finances, all we got to do is click and look in our bank account, right? And our number is not there. But there's no number. There's no pinch inside of a relationship, right? And so instead of us, you know, walking we have to really walk proactively in this space. And as Nick just said, the word intentional, there's a difference between trying to make your marriage work and being intentional. Two different things. Because trying, you actually have the opportunity of failing. If you're intentional, you win or you learn. That's it.
Never lose. Never lose.
You never lose if you're being intentional. You win and learn. This didn't work. You just learned, right? You fall. You put on this outfit. It didn't work. You learned, right? You try to go this route. Y'all get it. I ain't gotta keep going. Y'all get it.
Yeah, we got it. I guess as ladies just need to apply it.
That's big, Jakeisha. You're right. You're right.
Ooh, that was you gave so much good information. It's like we almost need a part 2. Have you written another book? Are you in the process of writing another book?
Well, I'm glad you asked. So actually, Understanding a Woman is actually being written right now by a good friend of mine, my homie Joy Stokes. She just had a baby last week, so shout out to her. She also created the joystick. I don't know if you guys, I actually am, you know, streaming live from that right now on my joystick. But so she's writing Understanding a Woman, and then also coming in the fall is Understanding a Man: Memoirs of a Father to His Son. So it's actually going to be you know, some young men, some men speaking to our younger generation and kind of helping them advance the grade a little bit and give them some tools to navigate through this special place we call life. So,
oh, that's wonderful. And now you mentioned Joy Stokes. She's writing the Understanding a Woman, because in your chapter 4 on the Do You See Me, one of my questions was actually about the theory, if the theory could work both ways. So I guess in her book, she will address that portion too. I'm sure some of her topics will be similar to yours.
I can't drop all the topics right now, but I'm gonna make sure she watches this and sees what you just said.
Okay.
We'll see what happens.
And yeah, we love to talk to her too, because I think it's great to get both sides.
Absolutely. I'm gonna let her know.
Okay, good deal. Wow, this has been great.
Yes.
It has been, and it's clear that what he said, like he said, is not rocket science. But we hear this over and over again. I mean, it's repetitive, but yet and still, we still are not, applying it. So it's clear that we do need to keep having the conversations, and not being afraid to talk about Blues Clues, or and Happy Meter, and whatever else that there is to talk about.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Elam, how can folks connect with you?
And it's Elam. I know people love to say Elam, but it's Elam. But it's
Elam.
listen.
Elam.
Dr. Reverend King.
No, I
Dr.
appreciate
King,
you.
Dr. King.
First of all, Nicole, I want to say just thank you so much to you and Nick and Joe Keetra just for even having me on this platform. Very humbling, and hope I said a half a thing to assist anybody inside of their relationship. Who would have known? What was that? 2 years ago at the cigar bar, and then all of a sudden here we are linking back up, and this is leaps and bounds of how God is kind of taking me down this path. So thank you so much. Very humbling to even have you reach out to me and have me on this platform. So appreciate y'all. I'm down for the part 2. All right.
Yes. Look, Elam.
Huh?
Okay, I got to interject real quick.
Okay.
So keep that thought. But so you got my earrings falling off. But when you mentioned the cigar bar, what stood out to me that night, you really broke down the difference or the meaning of dating, what dating was. When women say, well, how do I know if we're dating, if we're exclusive? You broke down the levels and how to know. So maybe that's something we could talk about in part 2, because I think people still struggle with that, going on a date versus we're dating versus we're in a relationship, that whole piece. I remember you really explaining that, but people still not getting it.
Yeah, and I think that if we really go back to just to chapter 4, that's really what it's about. I mean, I know a lot of times, I had I'll be transparent. One of the interviews that I did earlier today for my upcoming book, one of the gentlemen said, and so I'm just going to give you a little peep into the next book. All right. One of the questions was, what would you have done differently with regard to some of your previous relationships and your intimate relationships, right? And so one of the men was just talking about, I would not have, lied about titles because I know that women care about that. And so he was just, I'll just say you're my girlfriend, but you're really not. But that's because I know that's what you just want to say. And I don't really care about that. And they were just, talking about, people want to say I'm dating and I'm engaged and I'm married. And it's like each one of these becomes a journey instead of a destination. If you walked inside of dating, you would understand that it's actually a journey, to whereas you have begun to take a walk in what your purpose is in life, right? Simultaneously, you're kind of inviting some people up into the space to kind of see, what you like, what you don't like, whatever case may be. And you're so more focused on boyfriend, girlfriend versus I'm on a journey, right? And and that's the reason why. See the fly begin. There you go. It just came up. I'm saying something good. That's the Holy Spirit coming up. So I'm saying something good here. So so instead of you walking inside of that journey of dating to understand yourself, to understand some of the likes and dislikes of the things about yourself, you're just worried about a stamp. And then after that stamp, then comes I guess we're extra committed, right? There's so many different myriad of different names, and then you want to get to fiance, and then you want to get to wife, and then that's why when people get married, they be like, such and such changed.
I made it.
Because it became a destination, and when you reach a destination, what do?
Ooh.
Yeah, I made it. What you want me to do?
You spend all this time winking, right? You spend all that time doing all that, right?
Yep.
And buying this, and now you, bro, you know how y'all.
Let's
yes, stop it. Okay, so what I'm saying is that and I get there's some pieces that you let go and let down. I get be yourself, But why weren't you yourself when you were dating? Okay. When you date somebody, they should be meeting you, not your representative. And so don't be mad that he doesn't like the fact that you remove your representative just because he said I do. The work starts after you say I do. So start that work beforehand. Let the ceremony go on, which is this one day of just $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 going out the door, which doesn't make any sense to me either. And then, now you want to go down this whatever. And then you just expect them to be like, well, you should just love me for who I am. You weren't even who you am supposed to have been then. So, yeah, I'm sorry.
We'll be ready for part 2.
Part 2.
All right, so where you can find me at is that
you said all that to say this, right?
That was sir.
That's Jakitra fault, man. She took me there. But
I'll take that blame.
You can just cut that part out. We can just cut straight to this. But you can follow me on Facebook, Understanding a Man Facebook page. And thank you so much for those who have subscribed. Also on our YouTube channel, Understanding a Man as well. Different videos. You'll see some of our podcast videos up there as well. You can follow us on Anchor and iTunes and Apple Podcasts or whatever for the Understanding a Man podcast. And then also on my Instagram page, Elam, ELAM, B King, KING. And I just want to say again, also my website, understandingaman.com. If you are looking for any relationship coaching or pre-marriage coaching or just life coaching as well, you can go to understandingaman.com. Just, hit me on the contact and then we can talk from there.
All right. Very good. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate it. And we definitely have to plan for part 2 and would love to, once that new book comes out, also have you back to talk about that as well. And like I said, tell Joy about us too.
Will do. Oh yeah, absolutely. Will do.
Yeah.
And thank you guys so much for having me. This has been a pleasure and definitely an honor to, I guess, just be one of your humble guest on your anniversary. So again, happy anniversary, y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being so transparent.
Yes.
Absolutely. Thank you.
We appreciate it. So please check Elam out on all of those platforms. I put up the Facebook, YouTube, and Anchor. But also buy the book. You can get it on Amazon, right?
Yes, it's on Amazon. Also, if you want an autograph copy, you can go to understandingaman.com and click on the PayPal button. It's actually about $2 less.
Okay.
This is the book, y'all. Look, this is the book.
Yes.
Click on that and you can get it on it's actually available on audiobook as well. So all of my audiobookers, you can go to Audible and or iTunes or what have you, download it on Spotify, what have you, on those platforms as well.
Love it. Okay, cool. So definitely support. And we also invite folks that aren't following us on Facebook to go to Single in the City Where Kings Meet Queens, and also check us out on YouTube. All of these broadcasts are on our YouTube channel, Single in the City Where Kings Meet Queens. So again, happy anniversary, love team. Thank you to our viewers for chiming in. Hope you all enjoyed it. I think we did get some comments from some folks, Amelia, Michael Cork. So thank y'all so much. We appreciate it. And check us out next week on Single in the City Where Kings Meet Queens. We'll see y'all next time. Nick.
We don't have any exit music, Nick.
Look, the anniversary music, that's going to be our outro.
No, we
you know what today is? It's our anniversary.
Okay, you hired.
And I will need to.
All right.
Okay, Nick.
Do you know what today is? It's our anniversary.
Hey.